The crew of a cargo ship shows up and offloads a kid they found on a deserted planet, the only survivor of a crash that happened when he was 3. Now a teenager, he's thrust into human society on board the Enterprise. But there's something unexpected, and in the hands of somebody already dealing with normal teen angst and awkwardness, could be scary as hell. Turns out Gary Mitchell ain't got nothing on Charlie X. Hit it.
Hey!
So it seems like you can't swing a dead tribble without hitting half a dozen supreme beings around here, as many as the crew of the Enterprise encounter. I swear there's more omnipotence per cubic parsec in this galaxy than Klingons at a thing with a lot of Klingons at it. I don't know. Point is, there's a bunch of them. This episode brings the tally so far up to 3, with the titular Charlie Evans, played by Robert Walker. We'll see how he does as we take a look at the plot. So the cargo ship Antares calls up the Enterprise and tells them that while they were investigating the planet Thasus, they found a kid named Charlie Evans, who apparently was the only survivor of a crash that happened back when he was only 3 years old. Since the Enterprise is on its way to Colony Alpha 5, where Charlie's only relatives live, they want to hand him off. Like, really badly. So badly they want off the Enterprise as quickly as possible. Even when Kirk is all, hey, we got some booze. You guys want some booze? They're like, nope, gotta go, see ya. Weird, right? Well, Charlie wants to see the ship, since he ain't never seen a ship like this before. And speaking of things he ain't never seen before, Yeoman Rand shows up with her double X chromosomes and whatnot to take Charlie to his quarters and show him around a little bit. And he has to ask Kirk, is that a girl? Kirk's like, yeah, Charlie, that's a girl. Oof. You got some catching up to do, kid. McCoy gives Charlie the once-over and declares him fit as an extremely awkward fiddle, but wonders how he kept alive all that time on the planet and how he learned to talk and all that. Charlie kind of waves off the questions, and then we get a montage of Charlie watching people do stuff on the Enterprise. At one point, a guy makes plans to meet another guy later for a beer or something, and as he's leaving, he does the sports ball butt smack thing. After seeing this, Charlie runs into Rand and wants to hang out with her. She can't because she's on duty, but she makes plans to meet Charlie later in the rec room, and you see where this is going. Charlie sports ball butt smacks Rand, and she tries to explain why that ain't something you should do, but decides to tell Charlie to ask Kirk or McCoy about it instead. Charlie is actually understandably frustrated that trying to emulate friendly behavior he just saw ended up blowing up in his face like that. Well, Charlie shows up in the rec room later, and Uhura is freestyling a song about how Spock looks like Satan, but in, like, a good way, while he accompanies her on his Vulcan lute. The whole room is eating it up, and rightly so, because she's killing it. As Charlie walks in, she shifts the subject to him, which is exactly what a 17-year-old boy likes, right? A beautiful woman singing a song about him while the rest of the room stares at him? Teenagers love that stuff. Well, he does a little thing with his eyeballs, and suddenly Uhura can't sing no more, and Spock's axe don't play no more either. Then Charlie does some impressive card tricks for Janice while everyone watches. They're impressive because they're literally impossible. Something's up with old Chuck here. Later, Charlie runs into the captain in the corridor while he's talking to the cook. He's telling him that he wants the synthetic meatloaf to at least look like turkey, since, hey, today's Thanksgiving. After that, Charlie explains that he did the sports ball butt smack on Rand. Actually, he sports ball butt smacks Kirk to demonstrate. And Kirk basically goes, woof, you got off light, kid. Then he tries to give Charlie a Ward Cleaver, you see, son kind of talk. But he's having as fun a time with giving it as Charlie is listening to it. But it thankfully gets cut short when Uhura calls Kirk to the bridge. The captain of the Antares is calling the Enterprise and wanting to tell something to Kirk really urgently. Kirk gets to the bridge and asks what it is, and before the Antares captain can spill it, the signal gets cut off. They look at Charlie, who basically says, I didn't blow it up, which is weird because it isn't until later that Spock determines the ship blew up. Right then, a guy from the galley calls the bridge to tell the captain that they put the synthetic meatloaf in the ovens, and when they took it out, they was real turkeys. Charlie giggles and leaves the bridge. Something's off with that kid. Kirk and Spock are playing chess later in the rec room, talking about how weird it was that Charlie seemed to know the Antares blew up before anyone else did. Charlie walks in right then, and Kirk goes 1, 2, 3, not it, and invites Charlie to play against Spock, then hauls ass. Spock beats him in 2 moves, setting off Charlie's temper a little. Spock leaves, and Charlie does the eyeball thing, and all the white chess pieces melt. He storms out and runs into Janice again, and this time she introduces him to Yeoman Tina Lawton, whom Charlie completely ignores. Well, Janice gets pissed about that, and in response, Charlie professes his love for her. Well, she heads up to the bridge and tells Kirk, hey, you better come get your boy or I'm going to have to drop the hammer on his ass. Kirk figures it's time to try that Ward Cleaver talk again, but for real this time. Kirk tries to explain, dude, it's not going to happen with Rand. You gotta chill out. You gotta take things slow, and even then it may not happen. Charlie tells him he feels like everything he does is wrong and he don't know the rules. Kirk says everybody feels like that, and hey, come with me, I'm going to teach you how to fight. Because that makes sense, right? Well, shirtless Kirk in tights demonstrates a breakfall. Kinda. And tells Charlie that you got to learn to do that so that when you fall, you don't get hurt. Somebody got their phaser set on metaphor over here. To demonstrate, he gets his buddy Sam to throw him, and then he throws Sam. And see? No problem. Charlie says he don't want to do that. He wants to learn to fight. Kirk says, okay, let's go. Take me down. Charlie tries, but can't manage it. And Kirk ends up taking Charlie down, which don't go over so well with Chuck. Sam laughs at him, which sets Charlie off, and he does the eyeball thing, and Sam just vanishes. Kirk asks where he went. Charlie says he made him upset, and now he's gone. Charlie don't know where, he's just gone. Well, the cat's out of the bag now. Kirk calls security to take Charlie to his quarters, and Charlie mind smacks him to the ground. One pulls a phaser, and Charlie makes it go away. Kirk squares off with Charlie in a duel of the eyelights, and tells him he's going to his quarters, or Kirk's going to pick his ass up and carry him there. Charlie looks like he's going to buck, but ends up standing down and leaving with the security guys who are now nervously noting the color of their shirts. Later, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are discussing the situation, and Kirk wonders if Charlie might be a Thasian, the civilization that used to be on the planet that Charlie was found on, since they were known to be able to do stuff like that. But McCoy says he don't think so because his medical scans all showed that Charlie was a regular human. Well, Charlie shows up, and Kirk asks, hey, did you blow up the Antares? Charlie says, yeah, there was a busted thing on the power plant, and I made it go away. They wasn't nice to me, so I blew them up. Okay, bye. And he takes off. On the bridge, when Kirk tries to talk to Colony 5 and tell him about the situation, Uhura's console blows up, burning her hands, cutting off their communication. Charlie goes strutting to Rand's quarters, and on the way turns Yeoman Lawton into an iguana. He gets to Rand's place, offers her a pink rose, and basically pulls a Biff Tannen on her.
When are you going to get it through your thick skull, Lorraine? You're my girl.
She turns on her intercom so Kirk and Spock can hear what's going on the bridge, and they come running. Charlie mind smacks him, which breaks Spock's legs. Rand slaps Charlie, who immediately does the eyeballs and makes her go away too. Kirk's pissed, but he knows he's got to be careful. Charlie says he's in charge, but he needs Kirk to run the ship. Kirk says he needs Spock, so Charlie fixes Spock's legs. Kirk and Spock lure Charlie into a room and block him in with a force field. Goes about as well as you'd expect. Charlie makes the whole wall go away and is super pissed about it. He goes on a sulky rampage, turning a lady into an old woman. He sucks the faces off of a group of crew members that were laughing about something. He just freezes some folks, just being a complete asshole. Kirk figures Charlie controlling the whole ship is probably taxing him almost to his limit, so he gets Spock and McCoy to turn on all the systems on the bridge they can, so Charlie stays occupied dealing with that, and maybe Kirk can knock him out or something. While this is going on, though, a Thasian ship shows up, and a big green head appears on the bridge. Charlie starts shitting bricks. The green head says they gave Charlie those powers so he would survive after the crash, but they didn't know he was going to be such a jackass with them. He also says he's restored the ship and crew back to the way they were before, though he was too late to save the Antares crew. Rand suddenly reappears on the bridge in her nightgown, which really was the icing on the cake of this day for her. She ain't been having a very good year so far. So Charlie begs to stay, and Kirk, kind of feeling sorry for Charlie, says he should be with his own kind. Maybe he could be taught not to use his powers. But the greenhead says he can't be trusted not to use his powers again, and he'd end up killing everybody, or they'd end up killing him. The only way is for them to take Charlie back. Charlie pleads with the Enterprise crew to help him out, saying that the Thasians don't understand love and he can't even touch them, but in the end, the greenhead snatches Charlie up. Then the Thasian ship departs, everybody is left all bummed out, and we roll credits. Great stuff. One really good line in this episode is this one right here.
Charlie, there are a million things in this universe you can have, and there are a million things you can't have. It's no fun facing that, but that's the way things are.
The whole man-to-man talk that Kirk has with Charlie is really good on both sides. Kirk comes with the wisdom, and Charlie's lines resonate with anyone who remembers what it was like to be an awkward teenager. It's really a great scene, and acted well by Shatner and Walker alike. And let me take a moment here and give a shout out to Robert Walker's performance as Charlie. He was 26 years old when this episode was shot, and he does a great job of portraying an awkward and angsty teenager, at least the 60s version of one, right? Top notch. The moment after Charlie's powers are completely revealed, and Kirk has to face down with him in the Battle of the Eyelights, there's a great moment of subtle acting Shatner does that I don't think gets enough attention. Look at how, once the confrontation is over and Charlie has left the room, Kirk drops the act and is clearly shaken up by having to stand down a super being that could wipe him out with a look.
I won't let them hurt me.
They won't hurt you.
Captain Kirk.
Kirk here.
Security reports that all phaser weapons have disappeared. Shall I repeat, Captain?
No, I heard you.
Really well done. Charlie has a similar moment when he's on the bridge close to the end. Uhura gets a transmission, and look at Charlie's reaction to that.
My instruments show we're receiving a message on subspace frequency 3, ship to ship. I can't hear it, sir.
You're creating that message, Charlie, or you're blocking one that's coming in?
It's my game, Captain. You have to find out.
It's obvious he knows damn well who that transmission is from, and you can almost see the blood drain from his face. He recovers quickly to keep up the act, but it's really a great portrayal by Walker there. The stuff Charlie can do is pretty scary, sure. Change what you look like, turn you into an iguana, just wish your ass into the cornfield. But this right here is some high-octane Formula One nightmare fuel. Holy crap. And hearing her make the sounds... And lastly, just a bit of trivia. This guy right here on the intercom talking about the turkeys...
Captain Kirk from ship's galley.
Kirk here.
Sir, I put meatloaf in the ovens. There's turkeys in there now. Real turkeys.
Chief, have you...
In the one and only time he appears in any Star Trek as a character, Gene Roddenberry, ladies and gentlemen. Very cool, but I'm glad he didn't make a habit of it, you know? The Goof. Okay, so not a lot of high-powered goof in this one, but a couple of things that make me laugh. I love what science fiction shows come up with to show mundane physical tasks like maintenance or something that needs to be going on in the background. Usually you see somebody with a light-up tool pointing it at some pipes or circuits, maybe something they're cleaning the floor with, or maybe scanning it or something. But what is going on here? They're kind of lowering this hilariously long pipe into the floor vertically, and who knows where the top of it is. Maybe it goes all the way up to ship. I mean, I'm sure you could come up with an explanation as to what's going on here. It's just really a bizarre task going on in the middle of the hallway, and there's just something funny about that to me. When Uhura is singing her song, and again, totally killing it, Charlie uses his powers to take away her voice and Spock's lute's ability to make music. And no one seems to think this is weird, or makes any reference to it ever again. Janice, who was right there watching when it happened, just kind of goes, "Oh, I guess that's over now," and moves on. I mean, of all people, Spock doesn't want to investigate this crazy phenomenon, like, immediately? That's weird to me. Now this ain't exactly Goof, but I gotta point it out as yet another example of how HD television ain't doing these old shows any favors sometimes. When Charlie smacks Kirk and Spock and breaks Spock's legs, they totally crack the wall of the set. Look at this. Now back in the standard def days, I'm sure you couldn't see it, but now it sticks out like a sore thumb. It ain't a ding on the show, it's just fun to see what they got away with showing back then when TVs weren't as good. Ruminations. So here's a question for you. What's the message of this episode? I mean, it ain't a requirement that all episodes have a message, but this feels like a message episode. But I can't figure out what that message would be. There's no obvious message here. It sucks to be a teenager? Okay, yeah, I can see some of that. Maybe it's to tell teenagers that they're not all alone and feeling all these awkward things and feeling like they don't fit in and all that. Or maybe it's more of a call out to the parents to be patient with their teenage kids because they're going through some seriously rocky time with the hormones and the whatnot. And that's normal. Could be both, right? Or it could be a lesson about trying so hard to get people to like you that you end up hurting people in the process, and you focus only on yourself when you should be more in tune with other people. Kirk's whole speech about how a relationship with a girl is a two-way street and all that. I mean, there's a case for absolute power corrupts absolutely, but that don't seem like what they're trying to say here. That was Gary Mitchell in Where No Man. This is different. But these are all kind of shaky too. It's hard to pin down. But hey, maybe there ain't no message, and this was just a scary Twilight Zone episode where instead of Bill Mumy as a kid, we got Robert Walker as a teenager. But that don't seem right either. Star Trek is usually more messagey than that, and like I said, it does feel like they're trying to get a message across in this episode. I'm just not sure what it is. One thing I gotta hand to the writer and Walker's performance is that they really worked together to make us feel sorry for Charlie at the end, even after all the crappy things he did.
Please. Don't let them take me. I can't even touch them. Janice. I can't feel. Not like you. They don't love. Please. I want to stay.
I mean, that does sound pretty horrible, especially for a young kid like Charlie. Very good emotional writing there. Well, that writer was none other than Dorothy D.C. Fontana in her first of many Star Trek scripts. Charlie X was one of the original story ideas Gene Roddenberry had in his series pitch material back in 1964. Fontana signed on with Roddenberry and Star Trek as a secretary and a script supervisor, and she found an outline of that story that Roddenberry had worked on but abandoned. She asked if she could develop it into a script, and the rest is history. Her experiences with her teenage brothers and a dedication to keep the character of Charlie relatable even when he was at his worst made this script really stand out and put her firmly on the track to becoming the Star Trek royalty she's destined to become. Really killer job. One thing that's still kind of a problem though in this episode and in all of them up to this point is we still haven't gotten the hang of the epilogue. I've mentioned it a couple times in the previous reviews, but like them, this episode just kind of ends. Charlie gets sucked up, and everyone just kind of looks bummed out and credits roll. It's really pretty jarring, and I honestly don't know at what point they start doing proper epilogues. Well, we'll see how it goes. Well, there you have it, Charlie X. What do you guys think of this episode? And what is your vote for the message of this thing? Let me know down there in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys' thoughts are here. If we were doing this in broadcast order, Where No Man Has Gone Before would be next. You see how weird that would be? As it is, though, the next episode is another one of my all-time favorites, Balance of Terror. If you're liking these episode reviews, reach down there and like that thumbs up button for me. Really helps the channel out. Also, if you ain't a subscriber, that's cool, it's all good, but if you wanna be, that subscribe button is really easy to hit and it's free. And hey, we got a brand new merch store at adstudiosmerch.com with shirts and coffee mugs and whatnot you'll love. It's hot as balls right now, but winter's just around the corner, and we've got brand new, very attractive and toasty knit beanies for your head. Check them out. And until next time, possum friends are awesome friends. Take it easy, alright? Later.